Seems to be at the cutting edge and the tip of the spear, so you're always deployed, you're always where the action seems to be, and I really like that part of it.
Naval Air Station Pensacola is a huge operation. It's more than 8,100 acres. The house there, 4 distinct installations.
Combine that with more than 21,000 military and civilian personnel, and NAS Pensacola has a $1.1 billion economic impact on our region. Captain Plummer has served as commander of that operation for the past 3 years.
Yeah, and he recently sat down with our Eric Reynolds to talk about his job, its challenges, his decision to serve in the U.S. Navy. So let's watch now. Here's the interview.
My dad was an Army officer. I grew up overseas in the Middle East, actually, so I was kind of, at a very young age, attracted to that lifestyle. Living in embassies, growing up in Jordan and Yemen and Lebanon, I thought this is an exciting life. I like the adventure.
For the last 27 years, Captain Plummer has been on his adventure in the U.S. Navy. This month, his latest tour as commander of Naval Air Station Pensacola will end as he passes the command over and heads to a new assignment in San Diego. Years ago, the career Navy man considered joining another branch of the military, until Plummer's relationship with a very special person influenced his decision.
When I was in college, I actually pursued joining the Marine Corps, but then I met my wife-to-be, whose father was a naval aviator. And she said, before you go down that path, why don't you check out the Navy? I did, and I just fell in love with it pretty quick. Just the maritime aspect and, you know, haze gray and underway, heading over the horizon. Her dad was an F-8 pilot, and he said, hey, you join the Navy, you gotta be a pilot. When I showed up to AOCS, right down here in Pensacola, Aviation Officer Candidate School, I was a college guy and fresh out of school, and but I can tell you almost instantly, the esprit de corps, the camaraderie, the sense of purpose, being part of something bigger than yourself. I actually enjoyed boot camp.
Like his father-in-law, Plummer earned his wings in Pensacola.
I was attracted by that culture, and the Naval Aviation piece just seemed to really click. It's a technical skill. My office space was an airplane, so I was learning a skill. And carrier aviation is challenging, and mastering that and becoming expert at flying around the boat, on and off the boat at night. You're trying to become good at something that's difficult to become good at. I got most of my time, almost 5,000 hours in the E-2. It's not pretty. It's kind of an ugly plane, but an important mission. It was a challenge to fly well on and off the boat, and so I enjoyed it. I grew to love it. Some of my greatest professional memories are flying off the boat, seeing things from the air. It's just a lot of fun. I mean, you get paid to do it, and I loved it.
Captain Plummer also loved how the Navy's mission put him near the action.
The Navy is always seems to be at the cutting edge and the tip of the spear, so you're always where the action seems to be, and I really like that part of it. It's challenging. There's something new every day. I spent my first 20 years being a pilot, and you know, that culminated with being a squadron CO, which was phenomenal, kind of the apex of a career flying and learning the mission. And you get out of your flying career and you start a whole nother chapter.
The new chapter was Plummer returning to where he started, NAS Pensacola, but this time as commander. Little did he know how challenging a job it would be.
I was heading to another command, and I got rerouted here, so I got no schools. Showed up kind of fresh, deer in the headlights, and then I think 10 days later had that oil spill. It was a huge trauma for the area, obviously. Had a lot of unknowns. We were getting about 1,000 pounds of oil per day on the beaches, trying to work through that, something that was unusual for the Navy, which was supporting something that wasn't in a playbook that I had read before. So we're kind of making up as we're going along. That was challenging because, you know, I showed up to a new job and then had that.
Once everyone involved got a handle on the BP oil spill, Captain Plummer was able to focus on learning his new job.
This job is completely different than anything I've ever done, so it took a long time to learn the skill sets, the leadership's the same. You're really a mayor of a small town. I mean, we've got medical and security and movie theaters and fire and public works was a huge part of my job. And so learning that was interesting. The best part of it is dealing with peers that are doing what I'm doing, all the COs in the major schoolhouses, because they are also passionate about what they're doing. And so we're working as a team for a higher purpose, which is getting young Air Force, Navy, Marines to the fleet, getting them to the tip of the spear has been really rewarding. I'm excited to come to work every day. I've worked hard to deliver the most efficient and effective support and execute my mission. And so I think I've done a good job in doing that.
In Pensacola, Eric Reynolds, Fox 10 News.
Captain Plummer says if austere times are ahead for the Navy, it won't be the first time the service is challenged to operate with limited resources. He reminds us that cuts created a smaller Navy in the 1930s, the same Navy that won World War II.
Perhaps some food for thought there. Plummer adds it would be painful to lose the Blue Angels air show.